Okay, welcome back to class for another session. As I had told you that from here we shall link to the disadvantages of free enterprise economy, Yes, by the way, I'm remembering something. Before we go to the disadvantages, there's something which was hiding in my head here. Among the advantages, also note that there is no, under free enterprise economy, there is no wastage. There is no wastage of resources. Why are we saying there is no wastage of resources? It is because the producers produce in accordance to what consumers need. It is what consumers need that the producers produce. So producers don't produce goods for wastage, and they are unbought. Those ones are not there. So whatever you produce and is demanded, you say yes. Whatever you produce and is taken, you say wow. So at the end of the day, the raw materials will not be wasted. Even the final products, they will not get spoiled on the market. Thus, limited wastage of resources. So from there, then let us link to disadvantages. Disadvantages, we also call them demerits. We are looking at laissez-faire or capitalist unplanned or free enterprise economy. So, with the disadvantages, there first and foremost, I removed the features, but do you recall them? Okay. We said that there is limited government interference. Limited government interference in the free interplay or in the free enterprise economy. And therefore, what is the disadvantages of the government? Not so much interfering. One of the disadvantages is that consumers, there may be consumption of undesirable goods or services. For instance, the harmful goods, outdated goods, and at times of poor quality. Why? Because the government is not supervising because the government is not supervising the nature or the standard of a given commodity, the standard or the quality of a given commodity produced and put on the market. The producer just comes from nowhere, brings the item onto the market, and then me, I come from my home, from nowhere, just look at its outward appearance. I say, hey, it is good. I just take, not knowing the inner quality of the product. You get that? Yes. Now, too, you also realize that there tend to be over exploitation. Of both producers and consumers. Yes. Why am I saying both producers and consumers? Producers themselves, let me start with producers. Producers can also be exploited. Yes, they can also be exploited. How can producers be exploited? These producers can be exploited by the consumers through being forced by the stiff competition for the consumers to give high discounts of their products that they are selling. And at the end of the day, they are forced to sell commodities at very low prices. Not forgetting that these people, the producers, aim at maximizing profits. So when they sell at very low prices, what does it mean? It means that they have been exploited by the consumers by making them to sell their commodities below the average. At one time you find that when maybe their goods have taken a long time on the market not being bought because of the stiff competition, I come on the market, I find when there are a variety, I buy from other producers, and with you end up not selling. So at the end of the day, you will be forced to sell at relatively lower price. You compete in terms of price. You reduce the price to the lowest level you can and be able to sell. Indirectly, you will be exploited by the consumers. Yes. On the other hand, the consumers can also are always also exploited by the producers. These ones are exploited by producers through high what? High prices. Through high prices. And with these ones here, I told you they are exploited by consumers through what? Through heavy discounts in prices. Yes. Are we together? That's why I note it as exploitation of both producers and consumers, because the government is not there to determine the level of price which is static at a given level, either high price or low price, above which a given quantity, a given product should not be sold, or high price below which a given product is not supposed to be bought or sold. So in line with that, you find it a very big problem. Yes, in this very scenario here, you continue realizing that vital and non-profit making products which we also call utilities are not produced, are not produced. Very true. Why? Because the main aim of the producer and free enterprise economy is to maximize the profits. And just as I asked you later before, that none of you, who of you can engage in the production where you have no profit? There's no one. There is no one. So, in that scenario, there are some utilities which are public utilities, but which are not profit-making on individual level. For example, the construction of wells which are water sources for a given society, for a given community. That one becomes hard for an individual who is rich, even when one is rich, apart from some politicians, because they are the politicians who tend to use those technicalities to win people's what? Minds, votes for them. But under economic sense, there is no investor, an individual or in the society who can come up and say, the entire community be settled. I'm going to make for you this well. Don't feel worried, okay? Feel okay, feel at home. And you get your huge amount of money. You go and work on the well. It is not there. It is not. On roads, look at the roads. Even when the roads have become so impassable because of their poor state, it becomes very hard for the rich people who have money to invest in other productive ventures to come in and construct such a road. Personally, where you come from, the road is a Maram road, not tarmacked, Maram road. But when I feel like going home, I just say the problem has now come. If I don't fall, my motorcycle will get problems, mechanical problems. Why? Because of the continuous potholes that are found. Yet there are very many big people in our area. Even factories are there. We have a tea factory, tea factory, but even a factory cannot, those factory managers cannot come out and say, let us construct this road to standard since we are using it for our transportation of goods from one area to another. They cannot, because they are looking at the amount they are going to invest in and for who. For the general public? No, they will not. I usually giving an example. I usually give an example around the Hoima here of a given tycoon whose name I may not mention. Yes, whose name I may not mention, but a tycoon who had worked for years and years. And I remember when we were still at university, those years, he used to say, around 2010, 2012, 13, 14, he used to say, now with me, I'm still consuming the money of 1980s. I have not even tackled the money of 1990s. All that money is there. All that money is where? Is there. So, don't play with me. But when you analyze how wealthy he is and how the roads where he passes are, you don't even need to see there. You just wonder, if he's having huge amounts of, why doesn't he engage? At least in the construction of the, repairing the road where he's passing. He cannot.